4 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. And Scott isn't here today, so I am going to try to get through this agenda. In order to begin, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, almost a bad start there. Is there a second?
This is Jenna.
Carrie
I'll
Peterson
second.
will second.
Very
Oh, hey,
good.
Carrie.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Hi, Jenna.
Say, yes, who do we have online here on the phone?
Carrie Peterson is on the phone.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for attending. The next item of business is minutes of November 16th meeting. Is there are there any changes, or is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Very good. That brings us to our staff report. Megan.
Hello, Betsy, what else would like you to take attendance?
Oh,
The minutes.
very good. Okay, very good. Let's start again. We've got the two online. Let's.
Chris,
Would you give your name and tell us? This is what was done my first meeting, and tell us what you're reading.
Chris Shipper, and I'm actually reading Preston and Child. I read it way back when it first came out in 1995, and I just reread it again for my book club last night.
Very good. Carlos Hawley. I'm doing binge reading Adrian Capilleri and his police novels.
This is Jenna Reno, and I'm reading Fly Away, which is the sequel to Firefly Lane. So, a real tearjerker. So,
Amy Oren, and I just finished the Virgin River Christmas book.
Very good.
Carrie Peterson is reading Cloud Cuckoo Land by Andrew Doerr.
Ooh, I heard that. It's a good one.
Wonderful. Is that it? Very good. All right.
All right, so for the staff report, in hiring news for the LA3 position, which I mentioned last month is a brand new position, we have interviews scheduled for that one the first week of January. We've also had 2 librarians put in their notice. So the Collection Development Technical Services Manager position is currently listed on the city's website. That position closes December 29th. The other librarian position works in the adult and teen departments. That one will be posted next Wednesday and will close January 19th. On the programming front, our children's department is hosting a drive-in Christmas movie night next Tuesday at 6. Kids will create a sleigh out of cardboard boxes and then basically pull up their sleigh to watch the Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Next week, starting on Monday, we'll have New Year's Party to Go packets available to pick up at any of the 3 library locations. They're filled with candy, party hats, noisemakers, and you don't need to register to pick one up. Those are just first come, first served. We are limiting it to 1 packet per family. Our teen department is running a virtual escape room next Wednesday. It's open to kids grades 6 through 12. Pre-registration is required for that one because they'll need an email address to send the link to the event out to. For all those people that get tablets and Kindles for Christmas, we'll be hosting an ebook help session on January 6th. So we're encouraging people to bring their new devices to the library, and we'll help them download the library's apps and get started with borrowing materials. And this year's Winter Readathon theme is Get Smitten with Reading. That program starts January 3rd and runs through March 6th. And that'll be virtually through the Beanstack program that we used for this past summer's summer reading program. You'll find details of some other upcoming programs in my report in your packet. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Very good. Thank you so much. That brings us to the director's report. Tim?
Yes, per your packet, the big activity over the last month is meeting with my admin team members and having quarterly project meetings, kind of seeing where different projects are per their departments and kind of looking towards the next year a little bit. Other than that, obviously being a member of the Red River Zoo Board, some activities with those folks, excitement there. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Tim? Thank you so much. That brings us to unfinished business. There is none. That's how well we're getting through business. And then now we have a couple action items. New business. First, the collection development policy review.
Yes, as we've been doing the last couple board meetings, obviously for a while, is kind of reviewing board policies that haven't been reviewed in a number of years. The collection development policy, I'm sure as you've read through it, is very detailed, and it's very good at explaining and defining the different parts of the collection. Again, nothing's been identified to be changed. It's one of those, and I think it's a real important collection policy that we have. And certainly, if anybody has any questions, but it's served us well. The library.
Very good. Any comments, questions for Tim? No, actually, I think it's a very good practice to go over this every year. And you're showing you can adjust to things changing. And if it doesn't change for years, that's actually an indication of stability. So. Well, I need a motion then in order to approve this item. No questions, but no motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the collection development policy as is.
Very good. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Very good. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. The ayes have it, which brings us to our second item, registration policy, the draft of the registration policy.
Yeah, some updates there is per the action item summary sheet on the front. You can see a big thing there is moving the number of years that cards are active from 3 to 5. And which has been very good. That really came in, we kind of made a kind of a fly change in helping people during the COVID. And we said, well, if it really helped folks then, we might as well move it to 5 years. And it's more in line with a lot of libraries that are out there. So we're just aligning that there. And organizational cards from 1 year to 3 years. I think that's really important. And the other one for like vulnerable individuals that have shelter IDs, and not make it specific shelters, but just shelter IDs that are available in the community to give those folks access. That's just helpful. And allowing folks to come in with ID and may not have their present address on it, but we're mailing the card out. So if they say this is my address, we mail the card out and it doesn't get to them, then they got to give us a proper address. So kind of expanding the amount of time for cards, making it easier for shelter folks, and kind of a little more liberal on the ID thing in terms of renewals, which is certainly in line with our strategic plan, looking at removing barriers to folks in terms of usage.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions for Tim? No? I have a question that's related. You tell me if this isn't a good time to ask about this, but having to do with library cards. What are the different practices as you studied other libraries? Because I have heard that some are going away from an expiration date and simply a running check on the changes in a person's data.
We haven't gone that far yet. Certainly, they expire after, it'd be like, once you guys make the motion after 5 years. And I think the initial when part of the discussion is when you have a community that's growing and a lot of folks coming and going and this kind of thing, that you want some level of saying, hey, if you want to be have a library card, you can come and just renew and come on site and confirm address and what that. I think also, we don't charge, unlike a lot of libraries that I used to work at in Wisconsin, folks out of the community. Anybody from North Dakota could, if they really want to get a library card, they can drive to Fargo and get a library card. So I think where we're trying to, after 5 years, it might be good for them to stop by and, confirm address and this kind of thing, especially we're not charging anything, so.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, we need a motion here.
I don't know if this has anything to do specifically with this either, but are digital library cards something that's been talked about or an option for people?
Just strictly, when you say digital, in other words, a barcode
Or an app?
in an app,
Yeah.
we looked at that many years ago, and the struggle with that was that when you have our integrated library system and they're going through upgrades and if you have like a third-party app on there, every time you do an upgrade, the app will break.
Okay.
And it's one of those things of, adding another layer to maintain and coordinate with that system. There are people, we looked at it because we were worried that people were going to take pictures of somebody's card with their smartphone and just have that, but that really hasn't, initially when we were looking at the app thing to kind of get ahead of that, but it hasn't really, we haven't had a big push for that.
Okay.
And there's also the concern, the cost of putting that app together and then having it sync up with the integrated library system. And again, that form of maintenance, that level of maintenance to make sure that every time we get an upgrade, that can be once or twice a year, that we're not breaking the app. And, maybe eventually the open source system that we have would develop an app in that way, but nothing as of right now. So.
Okay.
All right, I'm still waiting on a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Very good. Is there a second? Approve
The draft,
approve
the draft.
right?
Oh, I'm motion to approve the draft? Okay,
Yes, draft.
sorry.
I'll second it.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Very good. That brings us to our statistical reports, A and B.
Right. Starting out with usage, the first one, you can see in terms of attendance, comparison November of this year to last year. Obviously, it was a much different year, kind of reflected across the rest of the statistics, obviously. Certainly in January, I can give you a full year's comparison of 2019 to 2021, which is the last non-COVID year. In terms of circulation, again, in that comparison, you can see through the end of November, year-to-date, we're up 21% over 2020. Again, not a lot of surprise there. In terms of financials, the first part, the donation summary, on the revenue side, we received $100, kind of an anonymous electronic payroll monies from someone in Microsoft, and $10 from another anonymous source, and 5 more, I think, so it's like 115. The other one was $100, the 366 was $100 from the Moorhead Friends of the Library for the One Book, One Community partnership that we had with them. And the other amount is from the Friends of the Fargo Library for Northern Narratives. On the expenditure side, we received, someone anonymously sent a $50 donation to the FM Area Foundation for our endowment. The $615 was from the Friends for the One Book, One Community catering. The $1,100 was from the donations to Carlson in memory of John Miller. An expenditure, they bought a book spinner basically for paperbacks. The $743 were all Friends donations for Crafternoons and summer reading program expenditures, and $300 again for e-content. Somebody gave a donation to spend on e-content for $300, and the $30 again from the Friends for staff development. In terms of overall budget, see through the end of November, 92% of the year expended, almost 88% of the budget expended. In our calculations, we're looking at really that will pretty much spend out by we get through everything in terms of December and the last period after that. So we anticipate the budget to be pretty well expended through the end of the year. And revenue, you can see it there, just under $18,000 year to date in terms of revenue. Any questions?
Any questions for Tim?
Yeah, I have a question. What happens, since I haven't been on the board for a whole year yet, with your budget you don't spend? Does
It
go
rolls back to the general fund.
to the city general fund? Okay,
Because that's obviously as a department of the city,
right.
a good 98.99% of our budget is city general fund
Okay.
on the operating budget side.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? All right, do we have a Friends of the Library report?
No friends here.
No friends here? Okay, we're friendless today. That brings us to public comment. Do we have public comment? You familiar with the drill? Very good. You have the floor.
Okay, I just wanted to talk a little bit about library policy, access to materials, but I wanted to direct the public that they can find that on the library website, on the column on the left side of the main page, and you look under About, and then click on About, and then below that will pop up Policies. Click on that and you can see the policy. So with regard to the, I think the public could use an explanation of the access to materials policy, because it perplexed me a bit when I encountered it. I did put in a statement of concern earlier this year to the Statement of Concern Committee about what I thought was a racist children's book. And one thing with this policy, part of it says the library will not restrict access to library materials under the assumption that certain materials may be, quote, harmful, unquote, to minors. And we had interesting discussions, I did with them, because there's different interwoven topics going on when you're talking about possibly removing material from the library. But what I think that could refer to is that people, oh, by the way, I'm Christopher Cohn, I'm a Fargo resident. I forgot to say that. But I think the Fargo residents might have differing opinions on what would be harmful to children. So that's might be why that's in the policy. But then on the other hand, I thought to myself, but I think we can all agree that we don't, in general, want a collection that is harmful to children. So when you're building a collection, you certainly don't want to purchase books you think are harmful. And what about removing them? Now there is there's the weeding policy, and you can remove material based on out of date. So it could be out of date information, or it could be out of date socially. And I'd like to ask if the Statement of Concern Committee has ever ruled in favor of a resident when they put one of these in, because I think they haven't. So what that tells me is I think the library should make it more clear to the public. In what instances will you consider removing material? Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Our next regular meeting is January 18th. And if there's nothing else, we're adjourned.